Hello, this is Molly Armour over at Maine, and I'm going to show you how to create a reserve list and how to create an item record for a personal copy that you can then add to that reserve list. So, first thing you want to do is open up Voyager, and you can actually log into the Circ or Reserves module. It really doesn't matter. Right now I'm actually logged into the Circ module at Maine. So I'm going to come up here, click the Reserve button. It's going to automatically default for a way for me to search for an existing reserve list, but I don't want to have an existing reserve list. I want to create one, so I'm going to click Cancel, and then come up here and right-click on the light gray area and click Create New List. So what I'm creating here, list name, effective dates, the location, and item types. The information that I put into this window will later be displayed here once we create the reserve template. So for our purposes, I'm just going to create a fictitious class, and I'm going to call, the name of this class will just be how to create a reserves list. The effective dates, what we typically do here at Maine is the effective first day is just whatever today's date is, and then the end date is usually the end of the semester. Depending on what kind of list you're doing, it may be indefinite. If it's indefinite, you would just do 7/4/2025. For now, I'm just going to make this one end at the end of spring, or excuse me, the end of summer. The reserve location, you have all these locations available here. For your purposes, you're going to want these books to only circulate in the Gwinnett Reserves module. So you'll come down all the way to the 8s and click Gwinnett Reserves. And then for reserve item type, you have all these options of 1 day, 2 day, 3 hour, 3 day. And since you want these books to circulate for 2 weeks at a time, we'll come down here and select leisure, because that's the standard 2-week loan period is associated with the leisure collection. So you would want to have a leisure item type. Click OK. And as you can see, it's now displayed here. So the next step we want to do is to link this list down here. And by linking, or what linking does, is it makes this list go live online in the Gill catalog. So basically, if you were to search course reserves, this is the standard way to search course reserves in Gill. You select the instructor from a drop-down menu. You can search by department or course, and you can search by section, but we don't typically. We tend to just ignore this last option. So we need to link this course so that it can display here. So come back, right-click down here, link courses, and here's where we select department, instructor, and course as it will display in Gill. So for our purposes, I'm just going to say that the department is Access Services. Now you have pretty much everything we've ever used before is going to automatically be listed here. You can create whatever you want by just clicking this blue cross, and you can just assign it whatever department. This is probably not that important for what you're doing, because the chances are the people who come to use these books, they're not going to find out that they're at Gwinnett by looking in the catalog. They're going to know because their teacher's going to tell them. So feel free to kind of do whatever you want here. For now, I'm just going to say Access Services. For instructor, I'm just going to create an instructor that's my name by clicking this blue cross. And I figure here you could potentially put, I don't know if there's an instructor associated with these books, but you could put their name here. And then the name of the course, typically we put in the course prefix and number followed by the actual name of the course. So in here, I'm not sure, once again, you can call it, whatever. I can't remember the name of the department that wants you to do this, but you could say like, such and such books or something. I'm just going to choose this first one here. You can tell this is one we created called Book Truck, because we have a book truck here that we check out for reserves. So I'm just click link. Course is linked. Okay. Just click OK. So now that this is linked, if we come up here and refresh, as you can see, my name now appears here. You can actually just search by my name if you want, and it'll automatically bring up, but you can see as of now, there is nothing associated with my name. We've only created the template. So now we want to add books. You have these two tabs here, one for items and one for e-items. In your case, you only are worried about items, so just click that items tab, right click. Now, if it was a typical book, you would just add by barcode and scan it. However, since this is a personal copy, you're going to need to create a personal copy. So right click and select create and add bib item. Now I have to get my own manual out for this because I often forget these steps. In fact, I'll make a copy of this since the manual I'm following and send it to you as well. So I'm going to show you how we create personal copies at main. Once again, you can kind of figure out how you want to do it at Gwinnett. I'm sure you won't need it'll be a little bit of a different process for you. So the first thing we do, we click that add bib item. So it automatically brings up this window, and for template, we want to select other. For title, we just are going to skip everything here. For title, you can put the actual title of the book. What we typically do, I'll just put actual title, and then we do a dash and put for reserves. And the reason we do this, you'll see later, is so it's easier to find after the fact. Because what it is when you create an item record like this, eventually it will have to be deleted, and only catalogers can delete it, so it's kind of complicated. But in your case, what we can probably do is whenever these items go off reserve, you can just email me a list of the titles and I can go in and delete them for you. Author, just put whatever the author is. And then we skip everything else, come up here and click Holdings. Now, something that trips a lot of people up here is they accidentally click OK. And if you do that, it's just going to create this sort of half-baked item record. If that happens, just let me know. I have access to the cataloging module, so I can go in and delete it. But so once you're through with bib, click Holdings. Under Location, for our personal copies, we of course do to reserves main. But in your case, you're going to want to go down to Gwinnett Reserves. Now, here's another area where you could probably get away without doing this altogether. For us, we assign a call number to our personal copies, but that's just because we have so many, we have to have a way to keep track of them. But if you're only using like 5 books, you probably don't need to put call numbers on them. So you can probably skip this step. But if you want to add a call number, we always select Other, and we actually invent call numbers, so we're not assigning Library of Congress call numbers. We just invent numbers for our books. And if you want to, you can include volume number, year, things like that, but we tend to just keep it really basic because this isn't a real record. So I'm just going to leave that blank. Oop, there we go. And then come over here and click Item. And let's see. You come down. Okay. This last step, you're going to want to look at this item type drop-down menu, and here is where you can select the loan period. Once again, even though you've selected it in the header, you want to come down here and click Leisure under Item Type. And you ignore everything else except for this little barcode field. And this is where you'll need to use that strip of barcodes, assign one to this book, and then scan it here. So I'm just going to make up a barcode. All right, and click OK. And so you can see now this book, this fictitious book, is now listed here. So if we go back to Gill and refresh, there it is. So if you search under my name now, you will see the stuff I just typed in is now displaying here. And that's pretty much how you do it. There's a lot of random... Oh, one more step I forgot. Okay, so it's listed here. However, over here there's this little dash mark. You want to right-click and select On Reserve so that it says yes. And that way it's officially on reserve. I think, I don't know if that affects how it displays here. Yeah, that just confirms that it's temporarily shelved at Gwinnett Campus Reserves. But so that's basically it, and you can add as many titles as you want. You could also create multiple links So for instance, if like 4 classes were using the same books and you wanted the students in all those 4 classes to be able to find the books based on their instructor's last name, you could create as many links as you want down here. Whenever the time comes and you're ready to take things off reserve, what I recommend doing, if you come up here, in fact, this is something you should do at the beginning. Let's see. Select reserve and then print pick list. And this will automatically print you a list of whatever physical items are on reserve. And that way, at the end of the semester, if you give all these books back to the department that loaned them to you, you'll have a complete list of whatever item records you created in Voyager. And that way, it's easier to go in and delete them after the fact. If these books are going to be on reserve for years, then hey, just let it go. You can just, it's small enough that you can probably keep track of it. So, hope this makes sense. Feel free to call me if you have any questions, or email. There are ways, there's a lot of subtle hiccups in here of like ways when you have to go back or edit something that are kind of not intuitive, but when in doubt, just try right-clicking. Usually you can change things if you right-click it. So that's it.